Good afternoon out there, shopkeepers and do-it-yourselfers. Today we're going to install this Banks Derringer tuner kit and iDash single gauge on this 2019 Chevy 3500 Duramax. And we're not trying to make the rear wheels burn holes in the asphalt. We're just trying to decrease the throttle lag time, and which is what the standalone throttle, I believe it's called a throttle commander, what it does. When you drive by wire, you push on the gas pedal or the go pedal. There's a response delay that sometimes can be well, a little less convenient, and we're going to do away with that. That was one of the big things. And there's a little bit of power increase with this that was not within my requirement or objective, but also a little bit of fuel economy that was within my objective, and it lowers the gas temperature, the EGT, the exhaust gas temperature, and that was kind of in my parameter of objectives. Anyway, let's get it unboxed. Okay, we got the kit all unboxed. Gail Banks, he thinks everything. Instead of printing out a bunch of instructions for each one of these kits, they just print out these QR codes, and you scan that and you get an online instruction sheet of how to put these on. And somehow or other I misunderstood and got the wrong color of the heads up iDash gauge display where it goes on the A post handle. My interior, the dash is this color, but the A post and all that is gray. But as far as I'm concerned, that's okay. Anyway, here's the cord that goes for that, and then there's this was actually with the Derringer. I'm not sure, I have to look into what this is about, but that's I really don't understand what that's for. I guess you're supposed to plug that into this so you can do diagnostics on the setup or something. I don't know. I have to look into that. Anyway, old Gail, he sends me two of these. Those are pretty nice. What do they call them? They're thick rubber, kind of neat, and a bunch of zip strips. And then with your gauge, this comes with it, and that is for if you're going to install it like into a dash. You would put this behind the dash. You would drill the hole the size of this, where this would not fit in the hole, but this will. That'll go into the dash, and this goes behind it and goes over it, and get both of the fasteners in there. And then it comes with plastic thumb screws that go on there, and that would secure it into the dash. But we're not going to do that. It's going to go into here, and I think it kind of press fits in there, so no fasteners are required. But anyway, that's a little bit further down the line. We're going to go ahead and work on getting this installed. This is your sensor harness that goes under the hood, and it's going to go in over here and go across. We're going to install the Derringer. A lot of people tie strap it right here. In fact, there's supposed to be that little eyelet there, and I think there's supposed to be another one. Well, maybe not, where you can put a zip strip through there, but I don't want it here because it'll be in the way of the fuse box lid. I'm going to put it back in here where it'll be secured out of the way and not be in the way of the fuse box. So let's go ahead and get this unwound and get it laid out across the top of the engine. Hey, when you lay your harness out, don't tie it down to nothing, just lay it out. And you want to run along the back side of this main harness and put it up there where it's going to kind of have a natural lay. And when you're unhooking, you're going to unhook your map sensor. And if you haven't done it in a while, take a 10 millimeter, take that bolt out and take this sensor, kind of rock it and twist it upward and pull upward at the same time. And don't jar it, pull it up out of there and it'll be covered with soot. Take a can of brake cleaner or something like that and spray it off good, let it dry, and put it back in. Make sure that your O-ring stays on. I'll take and drop a dab of spit on it or something and lubricate that seal when you push it back in so it doesn't tear it. We unhooked it, and we unhooked the harness connector going down to our fuel rail pressure sensor. It's an 8-wire connector, and pull that red lock connector lock protector, pull that backward, and then you can push down on that tab and that releases the lock, but they don't release very good. So when you're pulling on it, don't pull on the wires. Pull on the connector housing itself. But I took my pocket knife. Don't tell nobody. My probation officer says I can't have a knife. But I go in here and push up on that tab right there, and that eases the tension off of it, because you really don't have a lot of leverage out here. It doesn't want to work too good. So I use that here and there to get, actually on this one it's on this side, on that side, but on this one it's on that side. Anyway, we got those two connectors off. That's all we have to unhook. So this one is going to be our male, goes in here, and it's got tabs on it so it only goes on one way. That's our harness connector. Push it in till it clicks, and that's our female, goes on to our, now that's the sensor connector. This is the harness connector. Push it in till it clicks, and then this one goes over here to our sensor. Let's see, got it. And then push in your connector lock protector, and then take your harness connector doing this one-handed and trying to look into the viewfinder and make sure I haven't lost you. So we're going to put all that back here and kind of wrinkle this stuff up so it's not all in a exploded backlash. We'll tie that down, and then we'll pull this harness over and get it tied up. Okay, got that connected, and I went underneath the fuel rail pressure sensor connector behind that Christmas tree, so the harness came in under there, and then you can see it coming across here. It goes to the bottom of this major harness, main harness, underneath your throttle sensor, or your throttle control, your throttle body, I guess that's what that is, and runs along secured to that harness. You can see the new zip ties in there, and then do the right thing and pull them snug, and then cut them off. Don't leave all that stupid tail hanging off there. Went underneath it, come into the front of your fuse box connector, and underneath it brought the tail in right there. You can see my finger, and come across. I did not go ahead and zip strip this all through there. Number one, I'm not sure exactly where it's gonna, the the Derringer is going to mount. That connector right there, or circuit breaker, is for power coming off of my battery that's jumpered right there on the back of the fuse box, going back to my trailer. So I have a 100 amp service going to my trailer to run my winch. But it actually doesn't supply power to my winch. It supplies power to my battery on the trailer to keep it good and charged up. The battery on the trailer supplies power to my winch because that cable's not big enough to run a winch. But anyway, so that's what that is, and we're going to figure out where we're going to run our Derringer and then the harness to the iDash. Okay, on your Derringer, if you're not going to run an iDash, you use a different termination cap on the end of the Derringer model. But because I'm running an iDash, you use a black termination cap. Now, this did not come with options. It came already made to order, and it has the black cap on it. So this, you see you got these gold pins in there. They're pretty tiny. They're fragile. So you want to make sure when you put this on that you line it up properly. And you can see that there's two up there on the top would be to like your 1 o'clock position, your 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock position. There are two little tabs that line up, and then you can see the two little notches up there at the 11 and the 1 o'clock position. Make sure that they're lined up and push it in, and then turn the lock tab or the lock ring to the lock position. And because it has that O-ring in there, and you want to make sure it's in there because you don't want water getting in this. There'll be an O-ring in that one in too. But make sure that when you're pushing this in, I'm going to make like the Chevy emblem was my right hand. I would be pushing into my right hand and getting it lined up, and then I use my finger to grab that tab, that lock ring, and push it that way. So it rotated. Well, there's an arrow. How about that? There's an arrow that shows you which direction to rotate this lock ring, and you rotate it till those two lines line up right there. That's locked in. Now we can go ahead and connect this to the harness and get it tied up, and then we'll feed this through the firewall. Now then, we got to get set up on the inside, and we've got to work in here. So I took the side cover off, and if you don't know, that's the bottom. It would go on right there. You grab it at the bottom and kind of pull outward on it, and it has 6 of these jobs that hold it in. And when you get it off, make sure that they all came out and stayed on here. Sometimes these are broke, and the plastic ears are broke, and the little clips are missing, and then you got to rattle. But so pull it out here at the bottom, and maybe you can get your hand in there, your other hand, and pull out on with both hands, and it comes out pretty easy. But I'm not going under the dash because, number one, I don't want to jab holes in the firewall. I don't want water leaks coming in. So there is a method I'm going to use called fishing. Not with a PH, but with an F. We're going to fish this wire right through the fender well. And we're going to come in right up here at the top. We got to have a big enough area so that connector will come through. So we're going to go right up there at the top, and down here at the bottom of the hinge, right at the bottom of the hinge, and above the pass-through for the door electrical harness, you see this hole right there. That hole right there, there's this rubber plug. So we're going to run the wire, come out of the top, and come down and go in right through that, in that hole through this plug. We're going to use the plug, cap off the hole, but we're going to run the harness through there, and you can reach it right up through here to get it out and pull it down and bring it around the corner of the dash and go up to the iDash. So we'll go up here, and this is the kind of fishing I like, because you're always going to catch a fish. See how easy that was? So we're going to take this end, and you want to make sure you're not wrapped around anything, because you'll have to release that fish and go again. We're going to take this and just take some black tape and wrap around it. Now you want to pull that tape pretty tight so it'll hold on to that wire, and just make sure that your loop is not caught on anything. Go in here and fish your wire through it. It's always a good thing to hang on to a piece of scrap copper wire, because it's pretty strong, yet it's lightweight, it's very flexible, and very handy. And then if you get hungry, well, if you don't have any money, you can sell your copper wire and get a sandwich. I just had to go back out there and flip the wire up on top of the hood hinge, because it was wanting to go underneath it and it was getting tight down there. There we go. See, that's the kind of fishing I like. Now you got to do is just untape that. Don't use a knife, because your probation officer will probably find out, and then you catch a charge. But just so you don't want to cut them wires. Don't cut them wires. So just untape it by hand. That's a handy piece of wire. Then we're just going to feed that through and check up here and make sure we got all the slack out of it. Let's see, it's right here. There's the Derringer. We're gonna kind of got it wedged in there. I'm gonna secure mine right here, and it's going to be down out of the way of the fuse box and down out of the way of the hood hinge, and nothing's gonna interfere. Now then, I took a zip strip through that eyelet and went around the bottom of this body stamp right here. So this end is secured, and the cable goes into the hole and comes back out right there. And I put a zip strip around the back side of that through that hole, so the Derringer module is completely secure. Now I've got a concern that this wire might rub that sharp stamped edge, so I got a piece of vacuum line and I split it, and I'm going to put it on the cable where it goes through right there, so it doesn't cut it. So then, the vacuum line is slipped over the cable, and then I zip stripped it to that part of the body panel there, and it goes in back there. This piece does not move, so the cable is behind where the hood hinge is going to work, and there's plenty of clearance. Now we'll go inside. Now the next step is to run this harness through that hole up into here. But first, we got to feed this through this. So we're going to cut a little hole in here, but we're not going to cut it the same size as that. We're going to cut it smaller, because while that is hard plastic, this is pliable rubber, and we can allow that to be smaller so that when it goes through, it will hug this and maintain a seal. Now, I stabbed my finger and I was bleeding. Now I'm going to have to explain to my probation officer how I cut myself with a knife. Well, some of you might know how to get something that's bigger into a small hole. Well, you know, you got a Haktua right on it, so it lubricates it. I'm a pretty good shot. Now we can push that piece through there. Now you can see it was pretty snug, but the tab, the lock tab, it wasn't wanting to jump in the hole with it. So I took my unauthorized pocket knife and reached in there and grabbed the rubber and pulled it over the top of that tab, so all of it is now going through the hole. Well, there was a little bit of screaming. The neighbors come over to see what was up. I told them nothing. Make sure that you're putting that in through the right direction, otherwise you have to take it back off. And then slide that through, and you'll see that that is almost a perfect fit. That's good. And we want to come in here and go behind that door hinge. Now you can't see it from down here, so we'll just know that we're below it and stick that in there and give it a little twist. It'll stay in place, and we can go back around and come in here and grab it. Now the rubber's not wanting to go in. There we go. Now then, we can stick that right there in the hole. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see this or not, but coming in right up there, right above the parking brake.